What if the love you have been chasing your whole life was a lie? Imagine a woman, Elena, now 27, perched on her balcony as the city hums below, the sky bruised with dusk. Her phone sits silent, no word from the man she thought was her world. Her heart races, not with warmth, but with a hollow ache she's always called love. This isn't a fairy tale, it's a reckoning, a truth that cuts deep. You've been told that the tremble in your hands, the sleepless nights obsessing over someone's last online status, is love. But it's not. It's fear. Fear of being alone, fear of not being enough, fear of a life without someone to tell you you're worth something. Elena's story is one we all know. She grew up in a small town, watching her parents, Maria and Paul, tiptoe around each other's expectations. Maria swallowed her tears to keep the peace, teaching Elena that love meant bending until you broke. By 15, Elena was chasing boys who barely saw her, convinced their fleeting glances were the key to her value. Now, at 27, she's tangled in the same dance with Liam, a 29-year-old artist who drifts in and out of her life like a half-remembered song. When he's gone, she feels like a sandcastle facing a tidal wave, crumbling without his presence to hold her together. This isn't love, it's a cage masquerading as an embrace, a dependency she's mistaken for devotion. The poet Rumi once wrote, "Beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there." But Elena hasn't found that field. She's lost in a labyrinth of need, reshaping herself to fit Liam's whims, terrified that without him, she's nothing. The truth stings. What she feels isn't love. It's an addiction, a craving for someone to fill a void she's too afraid to face. If Liam vanished tomorrow, would she stand tall or collapse? The knot in her stomach whispers the answer, "You are not enough alone." Step into Elena's world, where her apartment smells of coffee and unfulfilled dreams. Sketchbooks lie half-filled. A guitar gathers dust, each a relic of a woman who's erased herself to please others. Attachment isn't just clinging to someone, it's a slow betrayal of who you are. Elena's days orbit Liam's moods. His texts light up her world like a summer dawn. His silence plunges her into a winter night. This isn't romance. It's a roller coaster of anxiety she's mistaken for passion. Her friend Sophie, now 32, knows this trap well. Over glasses of wine, Sophie shared her own story. She once dated Oliver, a charismatic man who seemed like a dream. But soon, Sophie was shrinking to fit his world, ditching her quirky vintage dresses for sleek outfits he preferred, muting her bold laugh to avoid his disapproval. "I thought I was loving him," she said, her voice breaking, "but I was losing myself." Sophie's tale mirrors Elena's, and maybe yours. Attachment turns you into a chameleon, changing colors to avoid abandonment, all while convincing yourself it's love. The psychologist Carl Jung saw through this illusion. He said the meeting of two souls is like a chemical reaction. Both are transformed or nothing happens. But Elena isn't transforming, she's fading. She's traded her vibrant spirit for a version of herself Liam might keep. Jung's insight is brutal. We project our inner voids onto others, seeking outside what we lack within. Elena's fear of being alone isn't new. It began in childhood, when her father's praise came only when she was good, when her mother's love felt like a prize for silence. Now, she's an adult, chasing the same conditional affection, believing Liam's presence is the glue holding her together. She's become an emotional vampire, feeding off his attention to avoid facing her own emptiness. Picture standing on a cliff, the wind howling, the drop below dizzying. That's attachment, a constant edge, a fear that one wrong move will send you plummeting. Elena lives there, her heart pounding every time Liam's tone shifts. She calls it love, but it's a lie fed to her by a world obsessed with intensity. Songs about can't live without you, movies where love conquers all. But what if this obsession isn't love, but a drug? Meet Daniel, a 35-year-old teacher Elena met at a book club. After a painful divorce, Daniel realized he'd been addicted to his ex-wife's approval. "I thought love meant needing her," he told Elena, his eyes distant. "But needing her made me lose myself." His words hit Elena like a thunderbolt. She began to see her love for Liam as a dependency, each unanswered text a withdrawal, each moment of his attention a hit that kept her hooked. Jung's wisdom rings true. We feed off others to avoid our own voids. Elena's emptiness isn't Liam's fault. It's a wound from childhood, a belief that she's incomplete without someone to validate her. Attachment whispers, "Without them, you'll die." But you don't die. You face the void. And in its silence, you find a teacher. Absence, when met with courage, reveals your strength. Elena's yet to fully embrace this, but the seed is planted, stirring in the quiet moments when she dares to imagine a life beyond Liam's shadow. Now, envision Elena at a crossroads, like those in ancient myths. Two paths, one familiar but worn, the other shrouded in mist. The familiar path is attachment, paved with anxiety and fleeting highs. The misty path is detachment, not a cold retreat, but a radical act of self-love. Detachment doesn't mean stopping loving. It means loving without chains, without fear of loss, without sacrificing your essence. It's what Jung called individuation, a journey to become whole, to weave together the fractured pieces of yourself. Enter Mia, a 40-year-old therapist who becomes Elena's guide. Her office smells of lavender and old books, a haven where Elena unravels her story. Mia shares her own past. A decade ago, she was tethered to a partner who drained her spirit. "I thought love meant holding on," Mia says, her voice warm but steady. "But letting go saved me." Mia's detachment wasn't abandonment, it was liberation. She learned to love without needing, to stand alone without crumbling. Her story ignites hope in Elena, a glimpse of what's possible. Detachment is a revolution within. It's staring into the void and not flinching. It's telling fear, "You no longer rule me." For Elena, it starts small. Spending a night alone without texting Liam, picking up her sketchbook, playing the music she loves, not what he approves of. Each act is a reclamation, a brick in the foundation of a self she's rebuilding. Jung's individuation is her map, guiding her to embrace her shadows, her insecurities, her need for approval, as parts of a whole, authentic self. The process hurts, like peeling away layers of skin, but it's a pain that heals. Picture Elena on a crisp autumn evening, leaves crunching under her boots as she walks through a park. For the first time in years, she feels light, not because Liam is there, but because she is. Detachment has transformed her. She still loves Liam, but it's a love without claws, without the desperation that once defined her. She's learned to say, "I love you, but I don't need you to be whole." This is the paradox of true love. It thrives in freedom, not possession. Elena's journey echoes Jung's vision of a self-realized soul, one that loves from abundance, not lack. She's no longer an emotional vampire seeking to fill a void with another's presence. She's a lighthouse, steady in her own glow, inviting others to share her light without demanding they stay. Daniel, now a close friend, notices the change. "You're different," he says, smiling. "You're you." And he's right. Elena's found her center, a place where solitude isn't a punishment, but a sacred space to reconnect with herself. This freedom reshapes her relationships. She no longer molds herself to fit others' expectations. She's begun to attract people like Mia and Daniel who value her for who she is, not what she can give. True love, she's learned, doesn't hurt or diminish. It's a dance, not a chain, a companionship born of choice, not fear. Elena's story proves Jung's truth. When you heal your inner wounds, you stop seeking salvation outside yourself. You become the love you've been chasing. Now, let's linger in a new chapter, one that feels like the natural exhale of Elena's journey. Solitude, once her greatest fear, has become her greatest ally. Picture her in a cozy cabin she's rented for a weekend, nestled in a forest where the air smells of pine and possibility. The fire crackles, casting shadows on the walls, and Elena sits with a journal, pen in hand, writing not to Liam or anyone else, but to herself. This is the mirror of solitude, a space where she faces her reflection without distraction, where she learns to love the woman staring back. Solitude isn't emptiness, it's a canvas. In the silence, Elena hears her own voice, the one drowned out by years of chasing others' approval. She recalls a story Mia shared about a patient Clara, a 45-year-old chef who spent decades cooking for others' tastes, never her own. Clara's breakthrough came when she closed her restaurant for a month and cooked only for herself, savoring spicy, bold flavors she loved. "That's when I found me," Clara told Mia. Elena sees herself in Clara, realizing that solitude is where she can taste her own essence, unfiltered by others' expectations. In the cabin, she confronts her shadows, writing about her childhood, the moments she felt invisible unless she pleased others, the way her brother, Noah, now 24, seemed to shine effortlessly, leaving her scrambling to earn her place. These memories sting, but they illuminate. Solitude becomes her laboratory where she experiments with self-compassion, forgiving herself for the years she spent seeking love in the wrong places. Jung's concept of the shadow resonates here. The parts of herself she hid, her anger, her neediness, her buried dreams. In solitude, she integrates them, not as flaws, but as pieces of a mosaic that makes her whole. This chapter isn't just about Elena's inner work, it's about how solitude reshapes her world. Back in the city, she says no to plans that drain her, yes to ones that spark joy. She joins a pottery class, her hands molding clay into imperfect, beautiful bowls, each a metaphor for her rebuilding. She meets Leo, a 33-year-old writer who shares her love of quiet evenings and deep conversations. Unlike Liam, Leo doesn't pull her into a whirlwind. He walks beside her, respecting her space. Their connection isn't born of need, but of mutual curiosity, a gentle exploration of what it means to share without losing oneself. Solitude, Elena learns, is the root of true love. It's where she cultivates the courage to stand alone, not out of isolation, but out of fullness. It's where she discovers that her worth isn't tied to another's gaze, but to the fire within her, burning steady and bright. This is the gift of detachment, Not a life without love, but a love that begins with herself, radiating outward to touch others without consuming them. In the mirror of solitude, Elena sees not just a woman, but a universe, complete, complex, and free.